What's going on YouTube? Kamikazevondoom here with another Division 2 build video. Now shout out to the DoD Disciples of Doom. Now in this video I'm going to show you guys the hardest hitting Lady Death build in the game. I've tested this and I will test it in front of you with two different really hard hitting Lady Death builds, and I will show you that this one is the cream of the crop. If you are trying to have the most hard-hitting Lady Death build out there, this is it. And to prove it to you, what I'm going to do right now is to show you not only am I hitting for upwards of 1.4 million per bullet to the chest, but also 1.8 million per bullet to the head using this build and the Lady Death. So without further ado, I'll just go ahead and cut straight to that gameplay. I will show you guys me doing the numbers, and then we'll come right back here. I'm going to be testing two different builds to show you that this one is the hardest hitting. And then once we do, the build breakdown, I'll give you guys some more PvP gameplay. But without further ado, here's me testing it out, and I'll see you guys here just in a second. Peace. Now I know that wasn't that long. I mean, it was probably quicker than this emote. So you did see that I can hit up to 1.4 million per bullet to the chest with the Lady Death, and also 1.8 million per bullet to the head using this build. So let's jump into it. What is this build? Well, it is the Hunter's Fury with Perfect Intimidate. And what I'm doing is I'm basically stacking amplified damage on top of each other. This is the hardest hitting Lady Death build in the game. I'm telling you right now. You can go full crit and you can get nice crit damage, sure. But as far as actual damage and per bullet and DPS overall, this is it. This is the hardest hitting, and I'll show you in just a second. But just to let you know, it is amplified damage from the Hunter's Fury gear set, which stacks. So not only the 1.4 and the 1.8, those are just baseline numbers, and that is without my Hunter's Fury stacking. You can get another 25% amplified damage just from those stacks alone. So this could probably hit well into the 2 million and higher mark. Now, what build did I test this against, you might ask? That is here we go, right here. This build right here is what I tested it up against. Now this build has two pieces of Hunter's Fury, Perfect Intimidate, with the exact same backpack, but this time Contractor's gloves and Fox's Prayer knee pads. So the philosophy behind this build is high base damage with damage to armor, damage to targets out of cover, and then amplified damage. Whereas the build I'm running right now is amplified damage throughout. There's no real damage to targets out of cover. The only damage to armor I'm getting is from the weapon itself, and that's about it. So those are the two, because these are the two that hit the closest together. And what I mean is that you have crit hits, and then you have normal hits, or like white numbers, what have you. Now the crit hits, you might be able to stack crit hit damage and get it to hit every once in a while really high. However, what you want and what everyone should be looking for is the build that hits the hardest, not only on the crits, but on the normal numbers as well. And that's where this build comes in. It has the most sustainable damage out of any build in the game. So before I actually do the build breakdown, let's just go ahead and test it out real quick. So first, I'm going to show you the competitor. So here is the competitor. 1.5.5k on the Lady Death, and that is with Contractors, Fox's Prayer, and Perfect Intimidate. So let's go shoot a few things, and I'll show you the numbers on this. I'm using the exact same specialization. I'm using the exact same chest, backpack, and I'm also using the same 3 red mods. The only difference is I traded out 2 pieces of Hunter's Fury for Contractors and Fox's Prayer. Besides that, this build is the exact same as the other one. Just so we get that straight. All right, so go over here to the firing range and I'll show you guys, it's pretty close, these 2 builds, but the 4-piece Hunter's Fury with Perfect Intimidate hits harder than anything else. I know there's a lot of you that are like, oh, but what about Sokolov and Intimidate? It just won't hit as hard. The extra amplified damage from the Perfect Intimidate is the only way to go, I promise you. So if you do not have the Perfect Intimidate chest piece, I highly, highly recommend you hunt down the Year 2 Hunters and open up the off-white box that is at the Haven. So like always, we do Invulnerable Elite, 5 meters, and then let's see, I have my Lady Death stacks, and let's see the numbers. So 318 and 820. 318 and 820. Okay, remember that. 318 and 820. Now just for reference, this one 45 158 for the crit, and I'm using all amplified damage with damage to targets that I cover and damage to armor with base damage. So 105.5k, that's a lot of base damage. All right, switching back to the piece of resistance. All right, here we go. So 820 and 318. Here we go with the full Hunter's Fury. 328 and 842. So that's 10k more per bullet normally, and then that's 22k more per bullet on a crit. So right off the bat, you can say without a doubt, this is the hardest hitting version of a Lady Death build. Now, remember those numbers, 842 and 328. You can see right there, 328, 842. Now, how did I get those stupid high numbers? Well, watch this. So I get my Lady Death back up. Oh, hold on. I'll switch my pulse over. So here's the secret, the Achilles pulse that was just released yesterday. I throw that on. I have my stacks. Do this to the body. 1.4 million to the body. Come on. Come on. Let's be real right now. 1.4 million to the body. Let's see if I can do a headshot. Oh, there's the head. 1.8 million to the head. So there you go. This is the hardest hitting Lady Death build in the game. Obviously, to get the Achilles numbers to go up higher, you could stack all headshot damage because the Achilles pulse is based off of headshot damage. That's the only way to get a really high Achilles pulse number. But as far as just target numbers, if you want to test your Lady Death build up against mine, I'm currently hitting for 328 per bullet and then 842 per crit, and that is to the body. So if you want to test it, there's your reference. But all right, let's get into the build breakdown. Shout out to the DoD, Disciples of Doom. All right, here we go. Starting off with the specialization, you can use whatever specialization you want because this does not hinder your damage. Just make sure that in your specialization you have SMG fully upgraded. That's all you need to do. Now for me, I'm using the gunner specialization because in PvP when I'm using this build, I really do enjoy the armor kit. It gives me that bonus armor, and every time I get a kill, I get armor on kill, and every time that I also get extra RPMs too on kill. So that's pretty cool. You get two things right there. Now the only difference with gunner is that I also get the riot foam grenade. So for all those status effect people, or if they're like running in a group and you catch them around the corner, you know, you can easily riot foam them. Why not? Now as far as the build, obviously you can't do the Lady Death build, hardest hitting Lady Death, without the Lady Death. So I'm sorry, a lot of you out there still do not have the Lady Death. The only thing I can say to do to get it the easiest way possible is to do the season activities. So whether it be, you know, the global events, the leagues, both of those give you exotic caches. If you are doing the season and you are not season level 100, you can also get exotic caches that way just by leveling up your season. Also, another very easy way to get exotics is doing your weekly projects. So right here, all you have to do is donate water, receiver, protective, ceramics, and titanium, and you will have another exotic right there. Not only that, but you can get an exotic just by playing the summit. As long as you clear up to 30 floors a week, you will get another exotic that way. So there's no excuse. If you don't have the Lady Death yet, all you need to do is farm some exotic caches, and it's only a matter of time. I have no doubt about it. But if that doesn't help you out, just do targeted loot for SMGs, and you'll get it that way. But back to the build. So the Lady Death. This one, 105.5k, and it's God rolled. So max SMG damage, crit chance, and damage to armor. Now what makes this weapon so special is the talent Breathe Free. Every time I move, it gives me stacks, and every stack that I use gives me amplified damage. So the amplified damage right now is at 75%. However, whenever I go into PvP, it drops down to 60%. So just remember that. Now my secondary, I'm using the Shield Splinterer. Reason being is one of my buddies, I Am Fox, told me that he dusted his off from the stash and that he loved it. And he swore up and down to use it, so I've been using it. It's a lot of fun to use. The Perfect Optimist is obviously the way to go, and I would highly recommend using it with damage to targets out of cover. That way, if you are running damage to armor, you can stack both damage to armor and damage to targets out of cover. Not only that, but if you can see on my Lady Death, damage to armor is 6%, and the damage to targets out of cover is 10%. So you're getting more bang for your buck regardless. But besides the fact, this Shield Splinter is at 103.8k total damage, with max AR damage, 10.5 health damage, and 10% damage to targets out of cover. It does have Perfect Optimist, so every 10% ammo missing from my magazine, I get 4% weapon damage, and that'll stack all the way up to 40%. Now, how to get the Shield Splinterer? This is the named F2000, and the only way to get this is actually to kill all of the Year 1 hunters. Once you do that, you can open up the ivory chest that is at the base of Ops in Washington, D.C., and you'll get this weapon. Upon opening up that chest, you will be able to buy this weapon every week from Cassie Mendoza. So a lot of you that don't see this weapon, that's why. And then my sidearm is just double barrel sawed off, nothing special, but the 1.5 million total damage and close and personal gets the job done. Now looking at the build itself, I'm sure you know by now, I'm running 4 pieces of Hunter's Fury with a Sokolov backpack with Adrenaline Rush, and the Perfect Intimidate chest piece. Now, this chest piece, we'll just start off with this because I did just talk about the Shield Splinterer. So the assault rifle, the Shield Splinterer, that is from all of the Year 1 hunters. Now this chest piece is from all of the Year 2 hunters. So both of these items are from killing all of the hunters in the game. Also, now every week when Cassie Mendoza comes out, she sells both this chest piece and that assault rifle. So every week I have a chance of, seeing more items in her inventory. Now back to this chest piece. This is the Hunter Killer named Golden Gear chest piece. Brand set bonus is status effects. I'm not sure how that would really work with the Achilles Pulse, but it is what it is. I'm using this chest piece purely for the talent, Perfect Intimidate. This gives you 40% amplified damage, which is both in PvE and PvP. This gives you the most bang for your buck. So if everyone, comes together and someone says, hey, what's the hardest hitting chest piece in the game? Bar none, it's Perfect Intimidate. You can go with Glass Cannon maybe, but it's not as high as this 40%, and you're taking incoming damage. So it's not even a competition. Now, as far as the attributes, this one is God rolled, and fully optimized. Max weapon damage, max armor regen, crit damage, and then a max crit damage mod. Going to the backpack, you can't have Intimidate without Adrenaline Rush, obviously. So this one, Sokolov Concern. Sokolov Concern brand set bonus I get from this build is 10% SMG damage. Now this one has max weapon damage, max crit damage with 4.7 crit chance. The crit chance can be optimized to the 6%, which is fine, but as far as damage goes, that does not affect my build at all. That just affects my chances of getting the critical hits. And then of course, another max crit damage mod. Now again, the Adrenaline Rush. Every time you're within 10 meters of an enemy, you gain a stack of bonus armor of 20%. This can stack up to 3 times. So with max stacks in PvE, you get 60% bonus armor total. Now in PvP, if I switch over, you can see that that is cut in half. Now it is whenever you're within 10 meters of an enemy, you only gain 10% bonus armor, and that stacks up to 3 times. So in PvP, 30% max, and in PvE, 60% max. Now that's bonus armor, so that'll knock you up over 1,000,000 armor if you're running close to 3 enemies. So if you do that, you'll have 1,000,000 armor, you'll have all this damage, you're good to go, promise. And then pop the Achilles Pulse, and it's game over. Now let's jump into the Hunter's Fury. So I am running all 4 pieces. What does that give you? That gives you 15% shotgun damage and SMG damage. That also gives you 20% armor on kill and 100% health on kill. But what I want is the amplified damage. So we run the 4-piece, and that gives you the Apex Predator talent. Whenever you're within 15 meters of an enemy, it applies a debuff that amplifies your weapon damage by 20%. However, like I stated earlier, all of those damage numbers I was showing you guys, it'll get even higher if I get this Hunter's Fury to proc even more. So if you read the bottom part of it, it says, killing a debuffed enemy will disorient other enemies within 5 meters and amplify your weapon damage by 5% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5. So I can get another 25% amplified damage. So that's just giving me more and more and more. So if you have an all crit build and you get it to crit once really high, that's cool and all, but this build hits harder, not only sustainable wise, but it also hits harder because if I can get this to proc even more, I get more amplified damage. So it's just going to skyrocket my numbers. Alright, so that's Hunter's Fury. Let's get into the attributes. The mask, God rolled, max weapon damage and crit damage with a max crit damage mod. Going down to the holster, Hunter's Fury, God rolled, max weapon damage and crit damage. Knee pads, Hunter's Fury, God rolled, max weapon damage, crit damage. And finally, Hunter's Fury gloves, again, weapon damage, crit damage. Now going to the skills, I am running the Explosive Seeker Mine in conflict most of the time because it'll help mark the enemy. You can throw it, you can see them around the corners, and once it blows up, you can see them bleed, and it'll actually track them. It's pretty cool. It's a good idea. And then also I am running the Achilles Pulse. Yes, I am running a tier 0 Achilles Pulse. Reason being is even at a tier 0, as long as you hit that zone that pops up, you're getting all that damage and the enemy will melt. I promise you. Alright, let's finish up with the stats. So this is for the Lady Death. 105.5k weapon damage with 35.1k PvP weapon damage. I have 45.7 crit chance, 156 crit damage with 70 headshot damage and 6% armor damage. Remember, these numbers are with a 4-piece gear set. So that's not bad. And a whole lot of amplified damage. Now, offensive tab, I have 100% all weapon damage bonus on the dot and 55% SMG damage total. So the 155% damage bonus total is with the all weapon damage and SMG combined. Gear talents, remember, Adrenaline Rush with Perfect Intimidate. That is the way to go. Now defensive tab, 726k armor with 218k armor on kill, a little bit armor regen, and 331k health. I also get 331k health on kill. And then the 10% explosive resistance and hazard is due to my watch level. Now, disclaimer, like I do in all my build videos, I am watch level 1354. So all of these boxes for all of these attributes are maxed out. So if you are under shade level 1000, you will not have some of these attributes maxed out. So when you're looking at your stat sheet and you're comparing numbers between yours and mine, and you are below 1000, you might have lower numbers. However, if you are above shade level 1000, you don't have to worry about it. You already have a maxed out watch. And that is it, you guys. This is the hardest hitting Lady Death build in the game. I get 328 normal body shots, 842 crit body shots, and then with the pulse, it goes up to 1.4 million per body shot. And that's it. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. While you're at it, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
The fight is halfway done.
System malfunctioning. Agent down. Rogue restore hive detected. System back online. An agent needs assistance. Rogue explosive trap detected. Rogue striker drone detected. Rogue Stinger Hive detected.
Point Bravo is in enemy hands. Point Bravo is now held by your team. Point Alpha is being held by your squad.
Boost about to expire. Agent down.
Victory. Well done.